having learned some of the tools and the techniques for forecasting, let's apply those and actually make a forecast ourselves. Let's start off here by looking at a map. You can think of this as this is what's happening right now. We have this dotted line here which indicates the position of the cold front, and the red line of the warm front 6 hours ago. And this right here would be the current position of the cold and warm fronts respectively. Now, we know what type of weather we can expect with each of the two different fronts based on the information from Chapter 8 on fronts. Now what we need to determine is where is this low pressure system and where are the fronts moving to and how quickly. In order to do that, we need to look not just at the surface but at the air aloft. So here is the relative position of the low pressure at the surface. And then these purplish lines are the ISO heights for the 500 millibar level. And you can see that since they bend downwards, we've got ourselves a nice trough over the central United States. Recall from mid-latitude cyclones that when you have a trough, the wind is going to be converging coming into the base of the trough and then diverging as it comes out from the base of the trough. And so since we have divergence aloft here, but at the surface that low pressure, the air is being brought into the center of the low, the jet stream is going to allow a decrease in pressure. So we could predict that this low pressure is actually going to become stronger. Now I want you to contrast that with, say, if the low pressure were here at the base of the trough where there is no divergence. Or even worse, if the low pressure were here in a region of convergence. If the low were here or here, in both cases the low pressure would weaken. So the low pressure will strengthen. And where will it go? These low pressures tend to follow the winds, as we saw at the end of Chapter 8 on mid-latitude cyclones. So the low will follow the winds, and so will move towards the northeast. So we can take a look then and say our low pressure is here. 12 hours, our low pressure should be somewhere in Illinois, probably close to Chicago. And then in 24 hours in the Great Lakes area. Now, also notice that right here, currently, our two fronts have met, so we've got ourselves an initial occlusion, which means that as the low pressure continues to move forward, that occlusion is going to start advancing. So we're going to have a much larger occluded front, and then 24 hours from now, an even larger occluded front. Now, we can come back here and look. Let me come back a couple slides. We can look at high pressures as well. So here's your high pressure system in central Montana. You've got a high pressure here in a region of convergence, which is going to be increasing the pressure and pushing it down towards the base of the trough. So it's going to push it towards the southeast. We are most concerned about the low pressure, this mid-latitude cyclone, but it's useful to see what's happening with other pressure systems as well. So there's the picture. On the left, you have what is happening now, and on right, we have a prediction of what will happen 24 hours from now. So then, all we have to do once we have that information is pick a city and make a forecast. Let's start off by doing a forecast for Augusta, Georgia. You see that Augusta is sitting right here, close to the Georgia-South Carolina border, well ahead of any of the fronts. So currently, in fact, it's closer to the high pressure system that's sitting just off the coast here. So no significant weather going on. It's just hanging out, clear skies, no wind. But as this warm front approaches, which over the next 12 and then 24 hours, it will be getting closer and closer, we can expect the weather first of a warm front and then of an occluded front to start happening in Augusta. So what we'll probably see is some increased cirrus clouds. Then the cloud layer will gradually get lower and lower. And then it'll start off with perhaps a little bit of snowfall. Probably not snow as far south as Augusta, but it's possible. And then perhaps some sleet and some freezing rain. And then just before the front hits, some fog. So basically what we're going to be saying is increased cloud cover, shift in wind or increase in winds, and increase in precipitation. And so here's the official forecast. Clear skies, becoming overcast, increase in wind and in temperature. We're increasing the temperature because it is, first of all, a warm front that's coming in. And there's a high chance of steady rain. Let's do another one for Chicago. What's going to happen with Chicago? Here in Chicago, right now, we have some fairly strong winds, about 10 knots. Cloudy skies, overcast. What would happen as this low pressure approaches? Well, temperatures are going to drop. You're going to get into this white region, which indicates more snowfall. And then your winds, which are currently coming from the southwest, 24 hours from now, the low will be on the other side. Winds are counterclockwise, so winds will be coming more from the northwest. So winds are shifting right now from the southeast, then they'll be shifting to be coming from the northwest. Temperature will drop, but not a whole lot because we're not going to have a front really pass over it. We're just going to have an increase in wind and lots of snowfall. So here's the forecast. Overcast skies through tomorrow, wind shifting from the southeast to the northwest, and then strengthening winds. Temperatures will be pretty steady and a high chance for snowfall. Now we could do this for all sorts of regions. For instance, here, Daytona Beach, what we would say is that the current circumstances are very similar to Augusta. 24 hours from now, we'll probably start seeing some increased high-level clouds. And then over the next 12 hours after that, we could probably say increasing temperatures with a chance of persistent precipitation. And that is a simple model of how to do a weather forecast.